Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Set. I'm Sabrina,
And I'm Kevin.
and we are here again on
Every week.
every week,
Every week.
a no race week though, and we were kind of fighting for some news.
We thought we were.
Yeah, there's a little bit of news, but I kind of still missing Carlos. We're still missing some driver signings.
Yeah. We don't have news that's gonna like blow anybody's socks off.
Yeah, it's not
Unless we just make it up.
groundbreaking.
We could.
We
Just
could.
make up a bunch of shit and see if
Just
it gets
put
around.
the rumors out there. So yeah, we are here. We've got 2 more races, then we've got summer break.
Yep.
But right now we are here to talk about news, what's happening this week, make up rumors, see what rumors are out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I figured first thing we'd kind of start with was we'll just get it out of the way and talk about how crap all these big name signings are. Hulk has outscored 3 of the highest paid drivers on the grid. Well, yeah, I guess they would be 3 of them, not the 2 highest, but yeah,
A couple of them.
The last 5 races, Hulk has 16 points, which is a very decent showing actually for a Haas.
Very decent showing.
Decent.
Considering the last few years,
they haven't gotten a point.
Yeah.
Or barely a point.
Yeah.
Until like everybody crashes on a rainy day. But yeah, he's got 16 points in the last 5 races, and below that is Charles in a Ferrari at 12, Alonso in the Aston Martin with 12, and Perez in that rocket with 11.
Well, and I think we should also remember that Charles, who drives a Ferrari, the Haas engine is a Ferrari engine.
Yeah, that's the works team.
So,
they are making engines for, I think it's not just Haas, is it? I don't remember. Maybe it is just Haas that has a Ferrari.
It might just be them.
Yeah. Either way, he's getting totaled.
Yeah. I mean, Alonso or Perez and Charles have had a couple DNFs.
Yep.
Alonso's just not.
That car's not there.
Just not doing it. And I mean, that's 3 people that he can easily get past, and he is getting past them.
And that's the thing. It doesn't seem like a lot. He's only 5 points up on Perez. He's only 4 points up on Leclerc and Alonso.
Yeah.
But when you're driving a Haas, that is a massive gap.
Yeah.
To beat them by 4.
And I mean, it kind of says, is it him driving the wheels off this car, or is it Haas that's changed? I mean, we do see Kevin Magnussen not finishing as high, but he's making his way up as well.
He's at like 13, 12. I mean, way better than last year where they were, 18, 19, 17, whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, whatever above Logan. Yeah.
If I was Sauber, I'd be pretty happy with my signing of Nico right now.
Oh, you're happy with signing
and hopefully
Nico.
The car is good.
Terrible. Yeah. You're upset with your car. You're just happy with Nico. Definitely. It's ridiculous. I mean, he is driving the wheels off that car.
Yeah.
Leclerc, I mean, he had DNF. He's also had some bad strategy calls in the last 5 races specifically.
Yes. That's a lot of races to have a lot of bad calls.
Yeah. Perez he's just not been there. He's just not. I mean, the rumors are, and that's the other part of the rumors, is that he might be gone by the time we get to summer break or just after the summer break.
Yeah.
Can they announce that he's no longer driving for them during summer break? Does that count as work?
I would think so.
I don't know. If you put out a company email, does that mean they can't do it? I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be completely hands-off.
That whole operation.
Yeah, we know, but I wonder if they're like corporate offices are allowed to work, because that's corporate, I guess.
Well, but it's mandatory. It's mandatory leave, right? It's like a
Yeah.
lot of Europe where I know like construction industry especially does their 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
I think it's almost anything but tourism or anything that has to do with tourism.
Yeah.
Um,
Everything shuts
would
down.
be, yeah, everything kind of shuts down and
Yeah.
nobody works. So I don't know if that includes because those people would be employed by them. So are they even?
True.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll
Just
see.
random thoughts that nobody
We
needs to know about.
we will see what happens, but I mean, he has to he doesn't have to win, but
No,
he
he has
has
to be
to
within.
he has to do something in these next 2 races.
He has to be within. Now the rumors are within 100 points of Max and within five places in the
Yeah.
standings of Max,
Yeah.
and he is 37 points out at the moment, something like
Yeah.
that. 30 something points away from Max. So unless Max has appendicitis, uh, just strangely afflicted by being near Carlos.
Yeah, but what happens after that is he becomes crazy good as but then kind of falls off. Anybody that's had no,
Oh,
Lando
appendicitis.
hasn't, but well, yeah, appendicitis has Lando didn't have appendicitis. That's right. Uh, but I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know, and I don't know who they would put in that seat. I don't think Daniel deserves it. He hasn't done enough this season.
Well, we can get into some of those
Yeah.
comments made shortly after Silverstone
Yeah.
by Christian. Just moving into the next, I guess, piece of news. Actually, that was a pretty good segue.
Yeah.
Um,
I set it up.
yeah, congratulations. Yeah, after Silverstone, I guess all the questions were, Yuki being in his seat, possibly especially with all of Perez rumors swirling around. Does he deserve a seat in a Red Bull? Doesn't even look like he's gotten a test, really. Well, we would have heard about it. We heard that
Yeah.
Liam got a test in an old,
Yeah.
or was it the RB20 this week? But it was more so for media
I think it
filming.
was Max's car that he was
Yeah, and
actually in. Yeah.
everybody made a big deal that he was a whole 2/10 off of Max's time. Like he wasn't
Yeah.
racing.
No.
It
No.
was a filming day. Like he's not
He's
gonna.
just
Yeah, here.
putting the
Yeah,
car on track.
yeah, and he was
Like,
probably told, "Don't crash it.
yeah.
Just whatever you do, just don't crash."
Yeah.
So I don't think it was really more of a timing session. But back to Yuki. No, yeah, Christian was just kind of saying, he's doing well. He's a Red Bull driver. He's got a Red Bull contract. He's a Red Bull contract for a reason because
Yeah.
we like him. No mention whatsoever of pop. He said maybe he'll get a chance. Maybe coming from Christian, a maybe means
Possibly,
no.
maybe.
In my opinion, like
One day.
yeah, Christian is always very direct in anything he wants. So I don't think that that was really telling of what he wants.
Yeah. And I mean,
Um,
even entertaining that question is kind of like just dance around it.
yeah.
It kind of proves the point of is this rumor not really a rumor? Is it that you guys are actually looking for somebody else?
Well, and then he comes back to saying, I think Yuki's really benefited from Daniel being on the team and
Yeah.
Daniel being beside him, and he'll be the first one to tell you that. Like, why did you bring it back to Daniel? You're really pushing to put
What
this
does it
guy
have to
in
do
your
with
seat.
Daniel?
Yeah,
Absolutely nothing.
yeah, yeah. You're just trying to, you know, showcase Daniel's maturity
Yeah.
or ability as a driver.
Yeah.
I-
Well, and funny that you mentioned maturity because I'm sitting here thinking about it and I'm like, I don't think I don't think that Red Bull thinks Yuki is mature enough for that Red Bull seat.
Do you think that his first few years in the sport have damaged
Yes.
his view by the company?
Yeah, I think they're trying to I think he may get the seat, not right now. I don't know if he would get the seat beside Max either.
I don't think he's going to be in a Red Bull. I don't think they have any interest in putting him in a Red Bull.
No.
I think they're going to. It's more likely that after whatever this contract is with AlphaTauri, RB V carb. It's been a while since I made that mistake.
Yeah.
Uh, with the V carbs, that he's going to just go to another team
Yeah.
if there's a
I
seat for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think 2026, 27. I wouldn't be surprised if Yuki's in a completely different team,
Yeah.
out of the Red Bull group.
Oh, I think so. Yeah. I think this is going to, if he doesn't get a chance in the next 2 years,
Yeah.
he's just going to be fed up and he's going to look to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think especially if Daniel gets a seat. if Daniel gets the Red Bull seat, I would be like, if I was Yuki, I'd be livid. So I
Oh
can,
yeah, I could see him T-boning him
yeah,
into a corner. Yeah, that's just yeah.
yeah,
Fuck
for
you and
sure.
your cars. Uh,
Yeah, basically. Basically, I did see a conspiracy theory regarding Ferrari.
with Yuki?
No,
Oh, I
not with
was like,
Yuki.
wait a minute.
just just a conspiracy theory regarding Ferrari and their downfall over the or Charles's downfall.
Decline. We'll call it a
Yeah,
decline.
the decline.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um
Steep, but decline.
yeah. Is that they threw everything into the car for Monaco. They prepped the car for Monaco and didn't prep it for any other race.
I don't see. Okay,
And
go
then
on. Yeah.
and then they've kind of what they've been doing ever since is getting it ready for Monza. So, a home race and a home race.
If that is true, well, first of all, well, yeah, I guess they would only care about making it uh, uh, appeasing Carlos for his home race because he's gone. But
Yeah,
if
yeah.
that's true, and it's all about essentially branding and 2 races, Ferrari are a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
we
you
gotta
throw
go.
money into these millions and millions of dollars just to win 2 races, so you can say,
Yeah.
"Look at this, we won 2 home races,"
We won our
but we
2
shit the
home.
bed for the rest of the year instead of making an extra, 40 million euros in
Yeah.
prize money. Nah, I
I
think
don't thi
whoever
I
made
thought
that rumor,
I was like, "We need to make some of these conspiracy
they
theories."
were stoned. They were
Yeah.
stoned. We should just make up
It's just makeup.
just random shit and just
Yeah.
see where it goes.
Yeah. See if we can create drama.
Yeah. I mean, that's I'm I'm dumbfounded.
You're speechless.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, who thought of that
But
shit?
I mean, it kind of like the way that they have just fallen off with Charles's car, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Like, this is back to 2021,
2021.
just messing him up.
No, it
2022,
was 2022, beginning of
yeah,
2022, where they're just
because he did
all the
well.
clown memes. Yeah,
Yeah, because he did well last year-ish.
they were back and forth,
Yeah,
Carlos and
so,
Charles, but Carlos better in the first half, and then Charles kind of
yeah,
made a resurgence at the back half.
yeah. So, but yeah, that's my
That
little
was
Ferrari conspiracy theory.
I'm done with the rest of the morning. Just I gotta be
Ru
thinking about that, and I hate you.
ruined your day.
Yeah, yeah, it did. Um, the other thing was we had was the comparison in points
Yes.
so far. Comparison in
Yeah.
points from the first 6 races versus the last 6 races,
Yeah.
and it is staggering. I mean, unless you're Kick
Yeah.
Sauber. Um,
Yeah.
they're at the bottom. Just for anybody, they had 0 points in the first 6. They still have 0 points in the last 6.
Yeah.
They haven't even really gotten out of just being 18th and 19th all
No.
season.
No.
But otherwise, everybody's kind of just flipped around. Everybody's found something or lost something
Yeah.
in the first 6 versus the last 6.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that, and we can talk about the constructors, but the driver we'll get into the driver standings, how that's all flipped
Yeah.
around as well. But I mean, Kick Sauber, I don't think at this point anybody saw them being at 0.
No.
Like, 0 is
Oh.
you haven't even got 1 point? Like,
Yeah, not even like a sprint race where maybe you can hold on to it for 19 laps.
just
No. No.
throw something.
And just out of the picture. Like they're not threatening anything. They're not
Yeah,
even sniffing the points. They're
yeah,
nothing. They're just blue flags all the way and finishing 2 laps down.
yeah. It's crazy because when you see qualifying, sorry, not qualifying, free practice, the car seems to be moving. It's not okay in the top 10,
Yeah.
but it's in the mix of the 12 to 16,
Yeah.
and then qualifying 17, 18.
And like during the race, they're seeing blue flags at like lap 20.
Yeah.
Like it's early.
Yeah.
early.
And then it doesn't help that they have, they haven't in a while, but 36-second pit stops.
Yeah,
Hasn't
that
happened
that's
in a while,
yeah.
but
I mean, so there's an improvement. I
yeah,
mean,
there
yeah, yeah.
we're down to 4 seconds,
Yeah,
3 seconds.
participation medals for that. We'll give them
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Who's above them? Alpine?
Williams
Oh,
has
Williams, right.
0 points in the first 4 or 6. Sorry, 4 points in the last 6. Did I say 6 points? 4 points in the last 6. What did I say?
I
Anyways,
don't know.
they've got a few points.
They've got
Um,
under 10
I mean,
points.
kind of where they were last year.
Yeah,
Albon, Logan got them a point, didn't they?
I think so. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
think
that
you
was
got them.
this year or last year.
I don't think it was last year. Anyways, it's inconsequential. They're down at the bottom. Um, Alpine's having a much better showing in
Yes.
the last 6. They had
Yes.
1 point in the first 6, which was it Monza? I think it was Monza. Actually, and Pierre getting 10th, wasn't it? After almost being taken out by his teammate.
Mhm.
And then so another 7.
Wait,
Sorry,
not
8 points.
Monza. We haven't gone to Monza.
Sorry,
Imola,
Monaco. No, Monaco, wasn't it? He was in
maybe.
10th there. I think it was.
Yes.
I think he
Yeah,
finished
yeah,
10th
yeah.
there because
Yes, because
Ocon
they
was
were
trying to get
fighting for it.
into 10th
Yeah.
on the first lap.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was that 1 point in the first 6, and then the last 6, 8 points. They've been consistently showing up,
Yeah.
always in that 9th to 12th range,
Yeah.
still fighting for points.
Yeah.
Then we got a flip, right? We used to have RB in 6th. Sorry, RB with 19 points, and then Haas with the 7th in the first 6, and set with 7 points. Sorry, and then the last 6, Haas has put up 20 points, and then
I
RB's only
mean,
put up 12. I mean, not far off from what they had in the first 6, but it's just that leap kind of from Haas that's been surprising.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the first little bit, like we kind of said earlier, the first little bit of the season, it was Kevin Magnussen helping out his teammate.
Yeah.
Now Kevin's pulling his own weight too. He's
Yeah,
making stuff happen.
he's had his
Still
green or
behind,
his
but
chamomile tea, and he's just taking it easy a little bit,
yeah.
and then he's realizing, oh shit, I can actually race.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not fight.
yeah.
Let's just race and finish
Yeah.
the race. That'd be great. Yeah, and then I mean the top.
Then we get into the interesting ones. I mean,
Mhm.
really. I mean, we had so in fifth, Aston Martin. I mean, they're 5th in both, basically in points, in this one because it's really shown how much they've dropped off in the last year.
Yeah.
But they're 42 points in the first 6, and then 26 in the last 6. I think that has more
All
to.
Alonso's points. No,
Yeah,
Stroll had a
Skull had
couple.
a couple. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, a couple. We'll
Yeah.
give him some kudos this time.
Yeah.
Not many, but we'll give him some. Um, but yeah, no, he drove well in Silverstone. I'll give him
Yeah.
that. But yeah, just continue to drop off, and I don't know if it's necessarily that they've dropped off from where the start of the season is, or if there's been such a push by McLaren, kind of taking them out of that, because they were. It was more so McLaren, Mercedes, Aston at the beginning,
Yeah.
right? The first 6 races, where
Yeah.
now it's McLaren's. Well, we'll get to it, but yeah, they're just kind of just at the bottom now. Now it's kind of
Yeah.
just leveled off, and they're just Aston's just there. We're firmly in the 7th and 8th kind
Yeah.
of place,
They're in their own
or sorry, 8th and 9th, 10th
they're in
and
their own
whatever.
world.
Yeah.
And it's shocking because they did have some, I don't know if they were major upgrades, but they had some upgrades. I want to say race 5.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
And immediately Lawrence was pissed about them. And we haven't really seen them figure out whatever those upgrades are, or we haven't really heard that they've made more adjustments or more changes or upgrades. So doesn't mean they haven't. It's just we haven't heard about it. So
yeah, and I think I think Lawrence is probably pretty aware of what the media says now, because last year when they had their major upgrades, all the talk was that there was a downgrade.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we're going to hear a lot of it. I think they're
No.
just going to try and put their head down and see what
Just
works. Yeah.
just put it in the car. Let's just drive and hope for the best.
Yeah. And then this is where we get a lot of flipping around. So we have in fourth in the first six races was Mercedes with 64 points. This time it's Ferrari with 115 in the last six races, which is decent.
Still
Decent from
good. Yeah.
still good numbers. But I
Still
mean,
good
the
numbers.
numbers in points between the top four get really close
Yeah.
in the last six races. Like, so if, well, we'll just go through the first six. Red Bull had 239, Ferrari had 187, McLaren 124, and Mercedes 64. So not even sniffing the top four
Yeah.
there for Mercedes. And then
Yeah.
the last six, we have McLaren with 171, Mercedes with 157, Red Bull with 134, and Ferrari with 115. So it's
Yeah.
really close.
Yeah. I I still think it's going to be a dogfight at
Oh,
the
it
end.
is.
Like, even again, looking at the drivers' numbers, which I'll talk about in a second, but it, it's getting really, really jumbled there,
Yeah.
especially those top four. And the top four is kind of changing of who you think that top four is going to be. In the beginning of the season, you could say it was going to be, what we thought would be Max,
Well, kind of. Yeah.
Perez, Leclerc, and one of the Mercedes.
I
That's
wouldn't
not
even
what
put the
it's.
one in the Mercedes up there. I would have put probably Lando there in like fourth or
Yeah,
fifth.
yeah,
Um, I did not expect Mercedes to have a showing that they did in the last six races.
no,
157 points.
no,
They're not even 20. They're six. What is that? 14 off of the McLarens,
yeah.
and it's the Red Bulls and the Ferrari. It's like Max said, they have one driver, right? I mean,
It's
Leclerc's finishing out of the points or is
true.
DNFing.
Yeah,
Perez is nowhere near a point because he's starting all the way at the back for whatever reason.
and at this point, getting 1 point for Perez is not enough. Like,
Oh no,
we need you to be getting 18 points and 10 points. We need
they're
you
being outscored
helping.
by their rivals by 40 points.
Yeah, it's
It's unacceptable.
it's one car.
Yeah,
We've got one car,
yeah,
and it's kind of true,
yeah.
unfortunately. Uh, yeah. So you have okay. I've got
Okay.
the driver standing. So this is actually a 2023 to 2024 comparison.
Yes.
So 12 races in 2023. I'm just gonna go down the
Yeah.
list. Max had 314, which is flying. Like, he was way ahead of
Well,
the
he
of
won.
everybody
He won all but one race in those first 12.
in those first 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was way ahead of, and he won, like, the sprints
Yeah.
last
Was
year
was
too.
Oscar's sprint win in that 12 or
I don't know if it was the
that doesn't matter.
yeah.
Either way, Max was second, so he only lost one point.
Yeah. Um, and then behind him was his teammate, Sergio Perez, with only 189. And I say only,
Only.
but, I mean, if we now look at it, Perez is not even close to that. He's sitting at 118.
Yeah.
So Max is sitting at 255. Again, we've seen Max did not finish. We've seen
Yep.
Max not win
Yep.
so far this season. So the 255 kind of makes sense. Um Alonso last year was at 149 in the first few races, but again, we had Alonso finishing on podiums
Yeah.
consistently in the first, I think, 5 races. He finished second or third.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is at 45 points. So he's 100 points
Oh,
off.
jeez.
Lewis last year was 148. This year, 110. He's coming up there. I mean, he just
He's
won.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's last year he was a lot better because I think everybody else was a lot worse.
A lot worse. Yeah.
And this year I
He's got
think the
competition.
car has been improving, so I think
Yeah.
yeah, he's getting up there.
Yeah.
Also, his
Uh,
teammates been much better than it. Not
yeah.
I wouldn't say much better,
Well,
showing better.
showing better.
Yeah,
So last year at this point, Charles Leclerc and George Russell were tied at 99. Currently, Leclerc is at 150 and George is at 111. So he is 1 point ahead of Lewis. But I mean, Leclerc started off well. He
Yeah.
started off on the podiums, second, third.
A race
He got
win.
the win.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, unfortunately, if we see that drop a little bit more, or
Well,
maybe not even drop. Just
most of those 150 were in the first 6 races.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Carlos 92. By this point, he's at 146.
Yeah.
Lando, this is the big jump. Lando was at 69 points in the first 12 races in 2023. He is at 171. So he's actually matching what
Yeah.
McLaren has done in the last few races.
Yeah.
Um, he's in second place right now. And Charles is behind him by 21 points. If Charles doesn't win the next race, and
Well,
Lando
but that's the
finishes on the
thing.
podium, that's
It
gonna go further.
Yeah, but it's not just like he leapfrogged Leclerc. Leclerc was way
Oh
ahead. Like
God, yeah,
he just took off.
yeah, yeah. Then we have Stroll, who had 47 points last year. He is now 23.
Much more
Uh,
appropriate number
yeah. And Esteban Ocon had 35 points, and he is not even on the list.
on the top 10.
We're
Yeah.
in the top 10
Yeah.
list
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now. I think
Well,
he's got a handful of
they only
points.
have 9 points anyway. So
Yeah. And I don't know how many of them are his. Uh, so, um, yeah, it just the flip flop is crazy.
well, and also
He
making lists this year is Piastri as well, the top 10.
Oh yes, I forgot Piastri. So he's got 124. So he's sitting ahead of Perez behind Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, and that's for a car that had to play catch up a
Yeah,
little bit.
and again, it's one of those things where he's not necessarily finishing on the podiums. He did recently, Austria. Um,
Something like that. Yeah.
but the cars that were ahead of him, Perez, the Mercedes, they're not the Aston Martins. They're not doing that great. So he just has to basically finish.
Well, and he's finishing, and
Like,
he
and
had that one podium, and
yeah,
he's finishing 4th or 5th, and like
yeah,
he's not far off from a podium. Like
no,
he's around there. He's sniffing it. He's just
yeah,
not there,
yeah.
right?
At one point, we were kind of thinking, he might have a race win
Could still
this year.
happen.
He very much could still happen.
Yeah.
So we'll see on the driver standing.
He's had a bit of bad luck too.
Yeah,
Bad
bad calls.
bad strategy call last
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
yeah,
So he'll get there. Maybe this year, maybe not.
yeah,
But interesting.
yeah.
These last two, and then coming out of that break for the last, how many races is that after? 10 races after that. It's going to be, yeah, because we're at 12 now. 14. It will be, yeah.
Yeah, 20.
Quick math. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens in that last
Yeah.
10.
I think these next two are going to be pretty telling. And then the first probably 2 or 3 after the break are going to be pretty telling of
Yeah.
we're going to see what people have done or not done.
Oh yeah, because we have a racers track in Spa coming up.
Mhm,
We also have a street race shortly after the break in
mhm.
Singapore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be. You're right. It's gonna be very telling.
Yeah. The first
It's gonna
these
come right
these
down to the
next
wire, I think.
2, yeah, these next 2 and then the first few after the break are going to
Yeah,
tell us a lot about what the last 5 races are going to look like for us.
yeah. I'm interested to see what's gonna happen between Max and Lando when they get to like a tighter track.
Yeah. Singapore?
But yeah,
Yeah.
especially yeah. I was thinking
When
that
they
one
get
too.
to Singapore?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's just concrete barriers. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a good time.
So that's the standings there. I
Yeah.
guess it's interesting. The other thing, we have a couple of news that we're just gonna. It's kind of just fell in our laps, I guess.
Mhm.
Rolex is no longer going to be the sponsor for F1. You're
Yeah.
never going to see that big clock out there. at the starting grid where they always have. Well, you might still see it. It just won't say Rolex.
It'll be a
Uh,
different.
yeah, it's after 2025 or
I think it's
into
starting
starting
20
2025. Yeah,
25. Yeah.
rumors are that it's going to be Hublot or Tag,
Hmm.
with a quite a lucrative kind of deal there, because I think they said Rolex pays about 50 million
50
euros,
million.
euros
Yeah.
or pounds. I can't remember. Um, but yeah, this one is supposed to be upwards of 150 million,
Yeah.
and the money train moves on.
Well, I mean, considering one Hublot watch is ridiculously priced. I
Yeah.
mean, so is Rolex, but
So yeah,
but yeah, they can if they can afford it, they can send one over over to
yeah,
us.
just to try it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
That's the only way I'm getting one.
yeah,
Um,
it'll be different. And I feel like it's happening so quickly. It's like, you would think they'd be like,
yeah,
"Oh, in 2026." It's like, "No, no, at the end of this year, you only have a few more races."
yeah, it was quick.
And then not sure
It's
if there was conflict or what, or if they were just wanting
Oh,
to.
I'm sure it's another their contract was
Yeah.
coming to renegotiation or whatever, and
Yeah.
Hublot or Tag or whoever it's going to be just came to him and said, "Listen, we'll
Approach.
give you this," and
Yeah,
Rolex said, "F it, no,
sure.
go ahead."
You
Yeah, yeah,
you guys have a good day.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, but Rolex is still involved with
They're everywhere. Yeah,
Wimbledon.
they're everywhere.
They do the Masters too, don't they?
I believe, or is
One
it
of
one of
them?
the?
One of the Opens?
It's yeah, it's the British Open, isn't it?
One of them.
I believe so.
So yeah, but iconic, and it's gonna be gone.
Yeah, well,
That clock, or again, it's just gonna be a different
it's just
clock.
gonna be it's just gonna look
It's gonna be
different.
a little
You're just not
different
going to see
watch
as much
face.
green. That's all.
Yeah, different watch face.
Um, excuse me. The other one we had was Ferrari's technical director,
Yeah,
and I don't have his name here. I did have his name here. Um, Enrico Cardile, I guess, just left with immediate effect. Just
yeah.
packed up his stuff and walked away, and we had no
Yeah.
idea who got rid of who, what had happened.
No.
And then the next day, it
But to the point that they put out a team statement on their Instagram.
yeah,
Like, so, but it was like immediately.
immediate effect. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next day, I didn't see this, but you said,
The next day he signed for with Aston Martin. So I mean, before we didn't know who did what, like, or
mhm,
who left who. It seems like he had an offer maybe,
yeah,
and he left with immediate effect.
yeah,
It could be that. It could be that news came out on on Monday, or sorry, whatever day that was, the
yeah.
8th, I believe it was, and then on the 9th, or that night, Lawrence called him up and said, "Hey, listen, come work for me.
Hey,
I'll
yeah,
give you." Yeah.
we got a spot.
Uh,
Yeah,
but he does have. It looks like he probably did himself leave because there was maybe an offer on the table.
yeah.
Um, because I believe he does have a period of gardening leave. And now, gardening
Okay.
leave, for other people that may not know, when you do leave a team, you do have to take some time away from the sport. And it's just basically saying, "Hey, I can't just go right into another team." It's like a non-compete kind of clause. I can leave for a little bit, and then after whatever the gardening leave is, I can't remember exactly what it is
Yeah,
now. Then I can come and work in the sport again.
yeah.
Right?
I love that name,
The
gardening leave.
gardening leave,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It
But you
seems
really think
very.
like somebody's literally in their garden,
It
just
seems.
pruning, just looking at their watch, like, I got 3 days left.
Yeah, it's just
Just
it's very much it's
posh.
very British.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh
like
yeah, that's
it's
exactly what it is.
yeah, it's not a non-compete. It's not about that. It's he's gardening for a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Non-compete just sounds too aggressive. We can't
Yeah,
do that. Yeah.
exactly.
Uh, but yeah, so he's going to be going there.
And
I
with
mean, I think it's more so that he just got a better offer
yeah,
and wanted to leave. But that really threw a wrench into the Newey news. Back
the
in the Newey
Newey news.
news.
That's a whole segment that we need to what are we gonna do when he actually signs with somebody?
I don't know. We have to have like streamers and balloons and stuff,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
a balloon that's shaped like his bald head. Uh,
Newey
the
news.
Newey news, yeah. So it seems that because their Ferrari's now looking for a technical director. They've given up on Newey. He
Yeah.
was he was reportedly be more so as a consultant, I
Mhm.
guess, kind of working on the car with the team, doing whatever for a ridiculous amount of money, but
Yeah.
still. But now they've decided to focus on somebody who's going to be full time because they don't need a consultant anymore.
Yeah. And I think Ferrari has also gotten rid of people have left. I think it's 6 people.
Something like that. But they've also taken, like, I think they took some
They've
people from
taken
Mercedes
yeah,
and things like that. Yeah.
but that's a lot of people to lose, and not everybody has been replaced in their
No,
position. So I mean, they have to, but we've seen that a little bit this season. Other teams with losing technical directors.
a lot of swapping.
Alpine just released
Alpine
somebody.
got rid of half of their
Everybody.
staff. Yeah, I was just
Everybody, but and Bruno Famine, I think, has stepped in to be principal, technical director. He's doing a whole bunch of different roles right
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, but I mean, yeah, Ferrari
Giving
back
up on
to
Newey. Yeah,
yeah. But if
which
you're Lewis and you were hoping for
with
that
that big ass smile on your
those
face,
giggles before,
everybody would love to work with Adrian. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, maybe you should have gone to
mm,
either Aston Martin or McLaren because
yeah,
that's where it looks like he's going.
yeah. Uh, you know, the rumors are swirling again that you said, like you said, it was Aston Martin. We've seen him at lunch with Zach. We've seen him on multiple
There's multiple
lunch
occasions, and they're friends.
with
Like they're friends.
Zach. Yeah,
He has a relationship with McLaren.
yeah.
Um, so that's kind of what I wanted to ask you. So if you're Newey, who has now completed his projects with Red Bull,
Mhm.
right? He put out the RB17, the hypercar yesterday, I believe it was. They unveiled it
Hmm.
the day before. So his projects are done. He is out of the loop now. The RB17 is done. He's not, from what it looks like, he's not developing anything new or working on anything other than maybe taking some data on the upgrades that he already had planned for the RB20s.
Yeah.
They're out there. He's got nothing left. So now you've got a bag of money from Darth Vader, or and you know you're gonna have to deal with Lance and Alonso, um, or you've got McLaren, where you have a great relationship with Zach Brown, and
If
and
mhm.
and you get Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri
Right.
as your drivers.
If he, I think, if he wants to develop another winning car, be back on top for the last few years of his career. I mean, I know he's not super old, but how long are you gonna
He's
do
old, not
this?
super old, yeah.
Not super old. Um, I would go into the McLarens based on their showings because there's not
Yeah,
much that I would have to go in and do,
yeah,
right? Like you
yeah.
guys are on track, or if I go to Aston Martin, I gotta develop the whole thing. I gotta fix everything with your car.
Do you have that time?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Uh
for 150 million, sure.
yeah.
Uh,
I think working with Alonso, his knowledge of the cars would be good. I don't know. And I also don't know team if he's wanting to leave his workplace, his current workplace because of team morale and everything that's
yeah.
going on. I don't know if Aston Martin is the fit for that because you have
Well, and we know that,
nepotism.
and we know that. I mean, Alonso, I love him, but it can be a little fiery.
Can be
Can be a
very fiery.
little. If it's not right, I'm going to point fingers at everybody.
Yeah,
And we know that after he's done driving, he's going to be with the team basically indefinitely at the moment, right? He's the
correct.
new
Yeah,
adopted son.
yeah.
Um,
He might take over
so
from the
is
the
that
biological.
we don't know what their relationship is.
No,
I don't think that Alonso is somebody that would be easy to work with.
no.
He has been great and he's been smiling most of the time.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't necessarily think behind the scenes that he's the easiest person to work with.
No. I I get this feeling that Aston Martin is also a toxic work environment.
Yes.
It's just somehow they've been able to keep it under wraps.
Because if you don't, you will be disappeared.
Yeah, yeah. You'll be on one of our true
You'll
crime
never work in
podcasts.
you'll never work in F1 again
Yeah.
or this earth.
So I think morale, the car, what he would have to put into it. I think McLaren's the better. He's got the history there. He knows how McLaren works.
Yeah.
That would be kind of where I'd want to end up.
Yeah. I think you're right.
But I think Aston Martin to me would just be a whole new rewrite. You're starting from the ground up. And I think your reward would take a lot of time.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, is that something where he feels he's tired? He's worked in F1 for so long. Does he
Yeah.
really want to make that kind of a commitment?
Yeah.
It would be rewarding, but do you
Yeah.
want to make that kind of? I don't think so.
I don't
I
think
think
we would see the until at least 2026, 27. Because
I don't even think then.
everything's changing in
Yeah,
2026,
I
right?
don't even
So,
think then.
yeah,
But yeah, yeah, no, I think you're right.
McLaren.
I think it goes 100% McLaren. I think those relationships that are there, the young drivers that are there,
Yeah,
um, I think that's the best chance he has to take a car, make it his own, especially when you go into 2026.
yeah,
Try and beat the aero game of everybody else.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
mean, you have two drivers that are secure in those seats. And I say secure because we all know Formula One
every
contracts
and yeah, and
don't
Helmet
mean
said it this
anything.
week. Helmet said it this week. Everybody's got an exit clause.
Yeah. But I think you have two drivers that are pretty secure in their contracts.
Yeah,
So he can build these cars around them.
yeah,
He can build around them where every other team is kind of like, this one might be here for a year, might be here for 2 years.
yeah,
We're not, everybody's a multi-year, but we know based on, what we see and what we know, they're not multi-year. Some of them are just getting them through until there's somebody else available that they want.
yeah.
So I think if he wants structure and just, you know, a good old Sunday drive, then McLaren.
It's going to McLaren.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, okay, I think that's everything we had.
I
We
think
don't.
so.
We're not doing a dirty air
No, we don't
or
have
a
any
fresh
of
set.
that. No, we are. Where are we next week?
Next week we're in Hungary, the Hungaroring.
Hungary.
No, is that yes? Yeah. Anyways, we're in Hungary. I don't know if that's the name of the track. I forget. It
No.
just sounds right.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, we're in Belgium in Spa
Spa.
before I was
Break.
going to say the gardening leave.
Our
Oh,
gardening leave.
that was the other thing. They released the sprint races for next year, and apparently
Oh, I didn't see them.
Spa is replacing. I think everything pretty much stays the same, but we won't have a sprint race in Austria. We will have a sprint race in Spa, which is it's
Ooh.
almost always raining in Spa.
Yeah.
You really like another thing Christian's going to complain about. He hated the idea of having it in China this year.
Yeah. But I
Um,
feel like Max loves Spa.
Max loves Spa, yeah,
So I feel like this would make him
but
love a sprint race.
I think it's gonna be a disaster if it rains
Oh,
that day.
absolutely. Yeah. Just
With
coming
all,
up that hill.
yeah, yeah. That was it. That was just a little bit of
Oh,
a thing that I
oh,
saw.
I didn't
I
see that. So
forgot about that.
everything stays the same. So
I believe
Miami,
everything else stays the same. Miami,
China,
China, Austria's out, Spa's in, and I can't
Spa,
remember where the other ones are
Qatar.
right now.
Is it 5 or 6?
6. I know
So
it's still 6. I just can't remember what the other ones are.
Qatar and then there's someone. Yeah.
The big one was Spa. But yeah,
Oh. So yeah, next week we're in Hungary. Well, we won't be in Hungary, but
we won't be
uh Hungary and
Belgium
then Belgium and then break.
gardening leave. Yeah.
Gardening leave. That's what I'm going to call everything. I'm going on vacation. No, I'm going on gardening leave.
Everybody's gonna hate your vacation.
Yeah,
Oh, that crap.
exactly. Right.
You took time off for this crap.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. So that's it for us this week. But you can find us on all social media platforms at Fresh Set Podcast.
Yep.
So that's Instagram, Spotify, TikTok,
X,
X.
Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music,
There you go.
YouTube.
You can take over. I don't
That
know
was it.
why I
That was it.
completely
Yeah.
went blank. You can turn on auto download so that we
Yep.
are right there Monday morning when you wake up.
Turn
Uh,
notifications on so you
yeah.
never forget it.
Yeah.
Steal your friends' phones, put their subscribe to them or for
Yeah.
them, and put their bell notifications on there,
Yeah.
so they get that as well. Annoy the shit out of them,
Yeah.
and
Forward
then like,
comments, like all that.
yeah, exactly.
And we will see you guys next week.
Yeah, grab a fresh set.
Bye.